Hey everyone, welcome to part 3 of this trophy guide and walkthrough for Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Thanks for coming along on the journey with me, and a special thank you to all of the channel members. Now let's go ahead and get started right where we left off inside the manor. We're going to head up the stairs, and then we want to go over toward the right. We're going to then climb this set of stairs, and then at the top we'll turn left. We'll go up one more set of stairs, then down the hallway and into the door on the right with the blue light coming out of it.
Maelle?
Gustave? Are you real? Well, you sure smell real enough.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I thought that you... On the beach, I saw you and I couldn't, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have, I should have come for you, and
It's okay. It's okay.
I was worried.
Made it.
How did you end up here?
I don't know. It's all a blur. I remember everyone at the beach. Then I woke up here. With him. He's been helping me a lot. He reinforced all my Pictos.
What is he?
I'm not sure. He doesn't really talk.
The chroma around him. It's quite different from the Nevrons.
And now we have a new party member. This is Maelle, and despite her young age, she's actually incredibly powerful in battle. Let's proceed forward and then over toward the left.
How did you find me?
There was a message at the indigo tree.
Do you know who left it?
A message? Maybe. No. I don't know.
At the end of this hallway is a painting that you can actually jump right through, and on the other side is an item that you can pick up. This is called a Shape of Life, and you can use it to upgrade the Revive Tint item. Now let's go ahead and leave this room. We'll go down the stairs on the right, and then down the stairs on the left. We'll turn left, and we'll go into the large dining room. When you get about to the table, turn right and you'll find a plaque on the wall. Let's go ahead and interact with that to flip it upside down. Now continue down the hallway until you get to the very last pillar, and on the back side of it is going to be another plaque that you can interact with. Let's proceed over toward the right, going past the next pillar, and on the wall is a third plaque to turn upside down. And finally, we'll go left a little bit, and there's going to be another plaque that's on the wall to the left of the burning fireplace. We'll interact with that, and that will slide this cabinet over, and now we can proceed through this crawl space. This storage room has a lot of interesting paintings to look at, so feel free to do that, but just make sure that you grab the item inside this large crate. It's another music record that we have to collect. Now let's go ahead and leave back the way that we came, going through the crawl space and now into the dining room. We'll then proceed over toward the right and run back toward the main entrance. Now continue straight ahead and go down the stairs. There's going to be a figure over in front of the door. Let's go and talk to him.
Again. We just trained earlier.
When prompted, choose the first option.
Alright. But this time I have backup.
We now have a battle against the Curator. Attacks announced with a jump flare must be jumped. These attacks can't be parried or dodged. Press X to jump. After a jump, you can trigger a jump counterattack. Press R2 to counter. Now starting off with Gustave, we're going to go ahead and use his skills, and we're going to choose Marking Shot. Now that the enemy's been marked, he'll take more damage. With Luna, we're going to use her skills, and we're going to choose Wildfire to do medium damage, which will of course be boosted thanks to that mark. Maelle's skills change her battle stance. Defensive stance takes less damage and gains 1 AP per parry or dodge. Offensive stance deals more damage but takes increased damage. Virtuoso stance deals a lot more damage. Switching to a new stance also provides Maelle with 1 AP. Now let's go ahead and use her skill option. Maelle's starting skills are Offensive Switch, Spark, and Per Se. Offensive Switch switches Maelle to Offensive Stance, Spark and Per Se switch her to Defensive Stance, use Offensive Switch to switch to Offensive Stance. Let's press triangle to use Offensive Switch, which will deal low single target damage and apply Defenseless for 3 turns. Defenseless is a debuff that increases by 25% the damage received by the character. Let's go ahead and jump and then counterattack. And now back to Gustave, we're just going to use a normal attack against the Curator. Over to Luna, let's go ahead and use her normal attack. And finally, the Curator is going to give us a lot of jumping and counterattacking experience, so one more time will be enough to end the fight. Because we completed this battle with no damage, we also get that 20% bonus to our experience gain.
That was fun, but I think we've had enough training today. You could come with us if you like. If that's a yes, we'll see you at the camp.
The Curator has left. Perhaps he will join you at camp. Let's go forward and leave the manor through the front door.
We should go to the manor and maybe learn something.
Yeah, or we could get back to the Indigo Tree.
Noco's usually here. I wonder where...
Is that a Gestrel?
Stop that, you big hairy brush face. Can't you see they're human? Noco's a bit dramatic, but if you're nice, Noco will trade you lots of useful items for Chroma.
So the tales are true. Perhaps the grandest in the SKA exist too. Are there more Gestrels like you? I'd love to meet them.
Noco, you silly scruff. Their village is not far from here.
Oh, really?
Lune.
I know. We don't have time for detours.
Yeah, we need to get to the Paintress.
There's another sea between here and the Paintress.
Noco, as the best Gestrel merchant ever, I bet you know a solution, yeah? Come on, you broomhead, I know you know.
Well, I guess you'll get to meet more Gestrels.
Gestrel merchants travel across the world offering rare and powerful artifacts in exchange for chroma. However, their most powerful items are reserved only for the mightiest of warriors. Impress the merchant by defeating them in a duel to access their secret inventory. We can walk forward and then talk to Noco. You want to trade for my fabulous wares? Luckily for you, us merchants accept chroma. Say trade. And now we're going to choose the Fight the Merchant option by holding down the square button. This is a one-on-one duel, and we're going to choose Lune as our warrior. Starting off, we're going to have Lune use her skills, and we're going to use Wildfire to do damage as well as burn the enemy. A lot of the damage that we're going to do in this fight is just from those burns. When the enemy attacks, you might want to just wait for a half second longer than you think you need to, because the timing of the attack is slower than you think it's going to be. Now in the second turn, we're going to have Lune just use her normal attack to regain some AP. Once again, you can dodge or parry. And now we're going to use our skills, and we're going to use Immolation to deal some damage and stack some more burn. And thanks to the previous burns that we've already stacked up, that should be enough to actually win the fight right here. Gestrel merchants give a pretty good amount of experience, and you can fight them over and over again if you want. You've proven yourself worthy warriors. I've got something special you might be interested in. Choose trade, and now we can purchase the Exposing Attack Pictos for 3,600 chroma. This makes your base attack apply the Defenseless debuff for 1 turn. We're now also going to buy the 5 Chroma Catalysts and the 3 Color of Luminas that he has available. And once we've purchased everything that this merchant has to sell, we'll go ahead and leave the menu, and then we want to go to the expedition flag located just behind where the merchant is. Now because we have a new character, we need to set her up properly. So we'll go to upgrade attributes, and then we're going to dump all of her 18 attribute points into the might stat. Now that you're done setting up those attribute points, go ahead and rest at the flag, and then we'll continue on toward the left and go through a passageway. If you stick toward the right side, then you can pick up a purple Chroma Catalyst off the ground.
These dead Nevrons. Who could have done this?
Guess.
So you didn't just stay in your mansion. We can use that.
Now let's turn around and keep following the path, and then we're going to get into a fight with the monster straight ahead.
Guess we found 68's boat.
There's a pub.
These guys are called Brulers, and they are weak to lightning attacks. So starting off with Gustave, we're going to use a Lumiere Assault. Now over to Lune, we're going to use her free aim to shoot their weak spots, which is their head. And now we can use her Immolation skill to do some damage and inflict a burn.
Feel the burn.
Now we can use Maelle's skill called Spark to do damage, inflict a burn, and put her into offensive stance. When we shot their weak point, we inflicted them with a Powerless debuff, which reduces their damage by 20%.
Get ready.
These guys have pretty slow attacks, so take your time, and then you can pretty easily parry them. The enemy only has a little bit of health left, so we can just have Gustave finish the fight pretty easily. Beating these enemies without taking any damage got us the 20% increase to the experience that we earned, so Gustave and Lune are now level 9, and we got a new weapon for Maelle called a Brulerum. It has a base power of 78, a fire element, and it scales with both agility and luck. Let's go ahead and go into the menu, and we're going to equip that onto her. The Brulerum is definitely the stronger of the two weapons that we have available, but it's nowhere near as strong as a weapon that we're going to get pretty soon for her. We now want to assign her 3 Pictos. We're going to start off by giving her Exposing Attack, and then SOS Shell, and finally Marking Shots. And now after 4 more battles, we'll be able to equip the passive abilities of all of these Pictos onto any of our characters. Alright, let's keep moving down the path. And when you get down toward this intersection, you're going to see the shadow of an enemy and hear him jumping over you. That's a good indication that you should turn toward the left and go attack him before he has a chance to ambush you. This battle is against 3 enemies, a Demineur, a Bruler, and a Luster. Starting off with Gustave, we're going to shoot the mine on top of the Demineur. We're going to shoot the weak point of the Bruler, and we'll put 2 shots into the Luster. Now we're going to do 1 more normal attack against the Luster to finish him off. Now with Lune, we're going to have her use her shot to take out the Demineur, and now we have enough AP in order to use her Thunderfall skill that will hit the enemy for its weakness against lightning, and we should be able to take it out no problem. At this point, Maelle hit level 7, and we're going to keep on going over toward the right side of the screen. You can see another Luster enemy lurking over here. Let's run over there and fight him. Here we have the same fight as before, so we'll use the same tactic. We'll attack the mine on top of the Demineur. We'll attack the weak point of the Bruler. We'll attack the Luster a couple times, and then we'll finish him off with the normal attack. Now Lune is going to use her free aim shot against the Demineur to take him out, and now we can use Thunderfall against the Bruler, and he's gone. After the battle, we'll get our rewards, and then we'll keep on going. Continue down the path in front of you toward the large circle in the distance, but look toward the left side before you get there. You can crawl up onto this little platform, and then you can grab the item here. This is a Recoat. Now we'll hop down and go into that circle. As you run up the hill, be careful because there's another friendly Nevron that you do not want to attack. Let's go ahead and talk to him. What's this Nevron doing? Remember, you never want to attack these guys, so we'll just say examine. It doesn't seem threatening. It's clinging to a metal chain. Doesn't it usually carry a mine with it? What if we were to give it one? Let's leave it. Now we'll go over toward the right, and we want to start jumping across the platforms over here. Remember, to get more distance, hold down R2 and then move forward to run, and then you can press X to jump up. If you fall down, you're gonna land in this lower area, but that's okay because there are some climbing handholds over here on this wall, and you can just use those to climb back up. We're gonna start hopping across these platforms now, and we want to make it over to the other side. So we'll jump straight forward, and then jump up to this higher elevation platform. Keep going forward, and then a little bit over toward the right. We can jump across this gap, jump across another one, and then over toward the purple item. Let's go ahead and grab this, and it's an intact mine. Now that we have the intact mine, we're going to hop down from the ledge and then run around toward the right-hand side. That will take us back around to where we can run up the ramp and then go to where the Demineur is. Remember, don't attack him, just talk to him. Hey, hold this. Give intact mine. Ooh.
It said something.
And now we get a new weapon for Lune. It's the Deminerim. It has a base power of 78, the lightning element, and it scales with agility and luck. Let's go ahead and open up our menu. We'll choose Lune, go up, and we're going to now equip that Deminerim onto her. And now with that new weapon equipped, not only will we do more damage, but our normal attacks will also hit the weakness to many of the enemies in this area. Now let's go ahead and turn around, and we're going to run back down the ramp toward the lower area. When you come out of the tunnel, stick over toward the right, and you can climb up onto this ledge where we got the item earlier, then jump across the gap, and you can use these handholds to climb up the pillar. Once you're at the top, you can grapple to the faraway ledge. Keep running forward and grapple again. Go forward along the narrow path. And at the end of the path is going to be a new Pictos that we want to grab. This is Augmented Aim, giving 50% increased free aim damage. We definitely want to equip this onto one of our characters. Not only is it a good Pictos, but it also is good to master and then spread to your other characters. So we're going to choose Gustave, and we're going to replace one of these Pictos that he's already mastered. I'm going to choose Empowering Aim, and so he's going to end up with Dodger, Augmented Attack, and Augmented Aim. Once you've got those Pictos all set up, we can go ahead and leave the menu. And now we want to drop down from the ledge right in front of us. We're going to go forward and into the tunnel. Let's take the path as it curves toward the left. At the end of the tunnel is a large enemy. Let's go ahead and get the first strike against him. The large enemy is called the Cruler, and it's accompanied by a Bruler. Now the Cruler begins with 2 shields, which means we can't do any damage to it until we hit it 2 times. We're going to start by shooting the weak point of the Bruler. That's going to inflict powerless onto both of them, and then we can put a few more shots into the Cruler to get rid of its shields. After we're out of AP, we'll just do a normal attack with Gustave. Now on to Lune, we're going to have her use her Ice Lance skill, and we're going to use it against the Cruler, and hopefully inflict it with the slow cast effect to slow it down a bit. Now with Maelle, we're going to have her use her offensive switch skill to attack the Bruler. We're going to do a little damage and put her into offensive stance. Now it's time for the enemy to attack. The Bruler attacks pretty slowly, and it's fairly easy to dodge or to parry these things. If you can parry them, then you should be able to take them out pretty easily with the counter attack. The Cruler can smash the ground, which is a good time to jump over it and then do the jumping counter attack. You'll do tons of damage to it if you can pull it off and avoid any damage to yourself. Finally, with Maelle, we're going to use Per Se to finish off the Cruler. There's actually a trophy related to this Per Se skill, and we're going to get it a little bit later on. Once you win, you'll get enough experience, hopefully, for everyone to level up, and we also get a new weapon for Gustave called the Cruleram. This is a weapon that has 98 base power, the ice element, and it also scales with both defense and with luck. Let's go ahead and go into the menu. We'll choose Gustave, and then we're going to switch out his Lanceram weapon for that Cruleram. Well, we're not going to be hitting anything's elemental weakness with this one, but it does do some good damage, and I think it looks pretty cool too. After the fight, you want to go behind the large anvil thing that's right in front of you, and on the back side of it are going to be 2 Chroma Catalysts, so make sure that you pick those up before continuing on. Once you have the Chroma Catalyst, then keep going forward along the path. Press X to climb up onto this ledge and go along the path a little further, and on the right side is going to be an expedition flag. Let's go ahead and use that. We can upgrade our attributes here, so let's go ahead and throw some more points into everyone's might stat. That's going to raise Gustave up to 30. Maelle is going to get up to 24. And finally, Lune will get up to 30. Once the attributes have all been assigned, let's go ahead and go into the Learn Skills option. We'll head over toward Maelle on the right, and then we'll go right and then down, and we're going to learn Swift Stride. It deals low single target physical damage for 1 hit, and it switches to Virtuo Stance if target is burning, and will also regain up to 2 AP. That skill is going to come in really handy for getting us a trophy soon. Once you're all done, leave the flag and head through the opening nearby. Stick toward the right side and you can grab the Pictos off the ground called Staggering Attack, which gives you 50% increased break damage on base attack. Turn around and start running down the path. You'll go past these lanterns on the left, and then an enemy is going to pop out in front of you, so be prepared for that, and then go ahead and hit him with a first strike, and we'll go ahead and battle this group of enemies. It's another Cruler and a Bruler. Starting off with Gustave, we're going to go into free aim mode and we're going to hit the weak point of the Bruler. That's going to deal lots of damage and also give the 2 enemies the powerless debuff. Then we're going to hit the Cruler a couple times to get rid of its shields. And now we can just go ahead and do a normal attack against either of these enemies. I'm just going to attack the Cruler. Now with Lune, we're going to have her use her normal attack against the Bruler on the right side. With Maelle, we've got a couple options. We can either use offensive switch to go into offensive stance, or you can use the spark skill against the Bruler, and you should be able to get the burn as well as the kill. But these guys are pretty easy to parry and then counterattack, so I'm just going to do that and finish him off. And now when the Cruler tries to smash you, make sure that you jump over it and then hit R2 to counterattack and do tons of damage. It's Maelle's turn again, and we're going to use the Spark skill to deal damage and also inflict a burn. And with Gustave's turn, we're just going to attack normally and finish the fight. At this point, we've completed 4 battles with Maelle having those 3 Pictos equipped, so we learned the Luminas for Exposing Attack, SOS Shell, and Marking Shots. We then want to continue toward the left a little bit, going up and around the corner here, and at the top is going to be another Pictos. This is Rewarding Mark, giving +2 AP on dealing damage to a marked target once per turn. After getting that, turn around and run down the path. You want to stick toward the left-hand side as it goes around the corner. You'll see an item around here, but don't get greedy. Instead, make sure that you attack the enemy on the right first, otherwise he's going to ambush you. This guy's pretty sneaky. We've got a battle against 2 Lusters and 1 Bruler. We're going to start off by attacking each one of these enemies by shooting them in the head. When we hit that Bruler, it also hits his weak point and inflicts powerless on the other enemies. One more shot to the enemy on the left and a critical hit takes him out, and now we can just use a normal attack against the Luster on the right. Lune's free aim mode can take out this enemy and the other one as well in case you didn't get the kill before with Gustave, and that's going to charge up your AP thanks to dead energy, and now we can use Thunderfall to take out the remaining Bruler. After the battle, Maelle gets up to level 9, and then we can pick up the item on the ground just toward the left. It's going to be another color of Lumina. We can use that. After grabbing that, we're going to turn around and go back the way that we came. We'll hop down from the ledge and then turn left. There's going to be another item on the ground here. This is some Chroma, so we'll pick that up. And then we'll keep going along the path. And then we'll turn toward the left. Let's keep running along this path toward the end. And then at the intersection, turn right, and we're gonna go into this cave and drop down. We'll use the handholds to drop down to the bottom, and then proceed forward and then over toward the left. We can use the grapple point to go across this gap, and then keep running forward. When you get to this area, you want to use the grapple points to go across the gap, and then do that again to go to this back area. If you want a free color of Lumina, climb up these pillars in the back as you jump your way up to an upper ledge, then you can grab that. Afterwards, you'll come back down and then you can run back by this paint cage, and we're going to fight the nearby enemy before we actually do that paint cage. Here we have a battle against 3 of those large Cruler enemies. These guys each start with 2 shields, which means we have to attack them a couple times before we can do any damage, and their weak points are random. Here's one up on his shoulder. Attacking that does no damage because the enemy still held a shield. This enemy's weak point is on his hand, so I'm just going to shoot the shields away a couple times, and then I can attack the weak point to do more damage. Well, I'm all out of AP for Gustave, but I can still do a normal attack, so let's go ahead and use that on the enemy that we damaged already. Now with Lune, we want to keep building her AP up as much as possible, so we won't do any free aim shots with her. Instead, we'll just do a normal attack. Now over to Maelle, we're going to have her use her offensive switch ability against the enemy on the left. In addition to the shields that the enemy begins with, these guys can also shield their allies, which just means that now we have additional shields to deal with. Make sure you jump over the smash attacks and then counterattack. You can remove a total of 3 shields at once if you get that jump counterattack to work properly. It's Maelle's turn again, and we can either just attack normally, or if you want to use a skill, I would recommend using the per se attack, and that's going to do lots of damage to one of these enemies. The enemy on the far left is super weak right now, so I'm going to attack the one on the right side. Now with Gustave, we can go ahead and shoot away 2 of the shields for the enemy in the middle, and then we can use a normal attack against the enemy in the middle as well. Now with Lune, you want at least 5 AP to use the Thunderfall skill. If you don't have enough AP, you can finish off one of the other enemies with her free aim shot, and that should recharge your AP a bit thanks to the dead energy Pictos she has equipped. In addition to the jumping smash attack, you can also do a combo. The timing can be a little bit weird on that, so no problems if you get hit or not. It just means you're not getting that bonus experience at the end of the battle. Now with Maelle, we're going to have her attack and take away these shields with the free aim shots, and then we can do a normal attack against one of these enemies as well. Gustave can just attack the enemy in the middle normally. It's Lune's turn, and we do have the 5 AP that we need for a Thunderfall, but I will use a free aim shot just to finish off the enemy on the right, and that will give me even more AP, and I've got plenty to use one more Thunderfall to win the fight. Well, it was almost a perfect battle. I did get hit just the one time, so I didn't get that bonus experience, but that's alright. I did, however, master a new Lumina. Now let's open up this paint cage. If you get close to it, then you can go into free aim mode. There's one directly on the wall in front of you. Over on the right side, there's one very nearby, and there's also one further toward the right in the distance. So we'll shoot the one on the far right, the one in the middle up close, and then over toward the left, we'll get the one up on the wall. And now let's grab the item inside that paint cage. This is a revived tint shard. We're now going to go toward the right hand side, and we're going to climb up these handholds to get up to the upper level. And we'll go forward and over toward the left. Let's go back through this area, grapple over to the other side, and we'll keep running forward until we can use these handholds to get up to the top again. From here, we're going to run over toward the right and then continue along the path. And on the right side is going to be an expedition journal that we're going to read.
Expedition 68, Elodie. It's a miracle any of us survived. We were caught in the maelstrom and flung from wave to wave. We lost the moon and the stars, condemned to a never-ending darkness of punishing rain and raging clouds. The paintress sent a storm to overcome us, but it is we who have overcome the storm. After surviving that, crushing those Nevrons was almost an afterthought. Strength and resilience, it's how we survived that storm, and it's how we grabbed victory. It wasn't even a battle. It was an ink bath. We squeezed those Nevs dry. But this new one looks tougher than the others.
Now we're going to keep going down the path in front of us.
So many. I don't like this. Merde. This one is gigantic.
Avoid those at all costs.
Now let's turn right and head down the path, but you want to stick over toward the left-hand side to go in between these large strands of seaweed. As you make your way back, there's going to be some handholds that you can use to climb up to the upper level. And there's another mime enemy straight ahead, and we're going to use this guy to get another trophy. Let's go ahead and initiate that first strike against him. He's going to do what the mimes always do and put up that wall to protect himself. We're going to begin just by having our party members use their normal attacks. That's going to break through his shielding as well as give us some more AP, and we just want to spend a couple turns gaining AP for ourselves. I don't want to do too much damage to the enemy right away, so we'll just dodge instead of parry. With Gustave, we're going to do another normal attack against him. And now on Luna's second turn, we can use her skill Immolation to burn the enemy.
Feel the burn.
Now that the enemy is burning, Maelle can use her skill Swift Stride to put her into Virtuo stance. Once again, we're just going to dodge the enemy's attacks. And with Gustave, we're going to have him use his skill Marking Shot in order to give the status effect Mark to the mime. If we attack with Lune, it's going to take away the enemy's mark, so we just skip our turn by holding down the right stick. And now with Maelle, because we're in Virtuo stance and the enemy is marked, we can use the Per Se skill in order to get a new trophy, the Synergy Trophy. Now, typically that combo would do a ton of damage, but we haven't broken the mime's defenses yet, so we'll break the defenses and then we're going to do that again. Let's go ahead and have Gustave use his overcharge ability to break the enemy, and then we can set up that synergy once again. With Lune, we can use Immolation. Now the enemy's already burned, but that's okay, we'll just stack a little bit more burn onto him. Because the enemy's burning, Maelle can use Swift Stride to put her back into Virtuose stance. Gustave will be able to use a Marking Shot to put Mark onto the enemy. We'll skip Lune's turn to avoid removing that mark by accident. And now we'll use Per Se once again in Virtuo stance against that marked enemy. It'll do tons of damage, being able to instantly kill him, and we'll also be able to get our loot. That attack combination is super powerful, and you can do tons of damage even against bosses, and there's even better ways to set it up later on to do absolutely tons of damage with Maelle. After the fight, let's go forward and we can pick up the color of Lumina on the ground behind where the mime was, then we'll turn around and head back down. We'll run forward past all the seaweed, and then stick over toward the left to use these handholds to go up. Let's run forward, and then just kind of go straight ahead into the seaweed. We'll make our way through the seaweedy path all the way to the back, where there's going to be another boss waiting for us. Let's go ahead and fight him. This boss is called Burgeon. He's not very difficult, but he does have some things to teach us. Let's begin with Maelle using her offensive switch skill so that she goes into offensive stance and inflicts the enemy with defenseless. And now Gustave is going to use Lumiere Assault to start building up his overcharge charges. That's going to come in very handy later on. And with Lune, we're going to have her use Immolation in order to burn the enemy. Borgin will spend his first turn eating one of your party members, and it's going to be random whoever he eats. Lune is actually probably the best option for him to eat, so I got a little lucky there. Now with Maelle, because the enemy is burning, we can use Swift Stride in order to put her into Virtuose stance. Gustave is going to use Marking Shot to mark the enemy, and because the enemy is also weak to lightning, it'll do bonus damage for hitting its elemental weakness. When the Borgin spits Miasma, you want to dodge it or parry it just about a second after it spits it out while it's still traveling through the air. If you get hit, you'll be exhausted, which prevents you from gaining AP from any source. Luckily, because Maelle is already in Virtuose stance, that per se is only going to cost 2 AP, and I've got more than enough to hit him with that and do over 5,000 damage. Now with Gustave, we don't want to use his skills right now because we're still building up our AP as well as our overcharged charges, so let's go ahead and just use a normal attack. Now it's the enemy's turn to attack. It can do a 3-hit combo or a larger combo. The timing of these attacks is a little bit weird and I'm not great at dodging them, but we don't take a whole lot of damage either way, even if you do get attacked. It's now Maelle's turn, and I'll have her use her Spark skill in order to set the enemy burning again. It's time to break the enemy, so let's go ahead and have Gustave use Overcharge. Not only will this break him, but it will also do massive damage, and the boss is almost defeated. After you break him, he'll spit out whoever he swallowed earlier. It's Maelle's turn again. We can have her use Offensive Switch in order to inflict that defenseless again. And now it's Gustave's turn. We can go ahead and hit him with a Mark Shot to hit his weakness to lightning, and that will be the end of the battle. Even though it wasn't a perfect fight, we still got enough experience for almost everyone to level up. We also got a new weapon, the Abyssaram, and we got a new Pictos called Augmented Counter 1. The Augmented Counter 1 Pictos allows us to do 25% more counterattack damage, and that Abyssaram weapon for Gustave has a base power of 91, and it scales with Vitality and Defense. We also get the Burgeon skin, which is a quest item that we need for later on, and we got a Chroma Catalyst allowing us to upgrade our weapons at camp up to level 3. Let's go into the menu and we'll check out the new weapon for Gustave. Technically, the Abyssaram does a little bit less damage than what the Cruleram does, so it's your choice if you want to switch it or not. I'm just going to do it because variety is the spice of life. And once that's done, we're going to go ahead and leave this menu and we're going to continue on with our journey. Now let's turn around and head back the way that we came. We'll go through the seaweed path, and then we'll stick over toward the right hand side to climb up the hill, and at the top we're going to get a sneak peek at the next story boss. He jumps down to say hello, then jumps away, and he lives to fight another day. From here we have an expedition flag just to our left. Let's go ahead and use it. We've had characters level up, and that means that we've got some more attribute points that we need to allocate. So let's go to the upgrade attributes menu and then put some more points into might for our characters. Eventually we're going to branch out and put points into other attributes, but for now we really get the most damage out of just investing in might. Once that's done, we can leave this menu, and then we're going to choose the rest option to get all of our health back. And now let's go to the learn skills option so that we can actually learn some new skills for our characters. Starting off with Maelle, we want to go down to the bottom right corner of her available skills, and we'll find a skill called Guard Up that will allow us to apply Shell, reducing damage taken to up to 3 allies for 3 turns. We'll spend 2 skill points on that, and then we'll move over toward the right 1 space, and we'll learn Fleuret Fury, dealing high single target physical damage for 3 hits. And if we're in Virtuose stance, we stay in Virtuose stance, and we can break enemies. It's a very powerful skill. Now moving on to Gustave, Gustave, we want to go down toward the bottom of the left column, and we're going to purchase Recovery, which allows us to heal and dispel status effects, and also get some overcharge charges. Just below that is Shatter, which deals high lightning damage to all enemies for 1 hit. It can break, and if the target's broken by the hit, our overcharge gauge is fully charged. Unfortunately, we did not have enough skill points for that. I was 87 experience shy of having enough for that, so we're just going to move on to Lune. Just below Icelands is a skill called Earth Rising, dealing low earth damage to all enemies for 1 hit. We'll go ahead and purchase that for 1 skill point. And then the bottom left corner has Electrify, dealing low single target lightning damage for 3 hits. We're going to go ahead and purchase that one as well. That's all we have to do for the skill menu, so let's leave this and then we'll continue along on our journey forward. Stick toward the left hand side until you see some handholds and climb up. Sometimes there's an enemy roaming around down here. You can find him if you want to, but he doesn't always spawn. Since he did spawn for me, I'm going to go ahead and fight him. Here we have a Démineur as well as a Bruler. Let's start by shooting the Démineur's mine, and then we're going to hit the weak point on the Bruler. Let's finish off the Démineur, and now we can go ahead and attack the Bruler with a normal attack with Gustave. The enemy's almost dead, so we're going to do 1 more free aim shot with Lune, and then the fight's over. And with that, Gustave levels up, and now we have enough skill points to actually purchase that Shatter skill in a little while. Let's keep on going forward, and we're going to stick over toward the left and then use those handholds to get up top, where we're going to see another enemy waiting for us. Let's run over there and fight him. This fight is against a Cruler as well as a Bruler. Starting off with Gustave, we're going to attack the weak point on the Bruler to destroy it and inflict powerless. And now we're going to shoot the Cruler 2 times to get rid of his shields. Now we're going to use a normal physical attack against the Bruler. And now with Lune, we're just going to do a normal attack against the Bruler. That should be enough to take him down because our weapon does lightning damage and that's his weakness. Now we'll have Maelle use her Spark skill in order to inflict burn on the enemy. Watch out for the Cruler's attacks. If it tries to smash the ground, jump over it and then do a jumping counter attack. And now with Maelle again, let's use another Spark. And we'll just have Gustave finish him off with a normal attack. After the battle, we can collect our rewards, and then we'll keep on going. After the battle, you should see a building in front of you. You want to turn left at that building and go kind of down this back alley with all the seaweed. When you get to the end of the ledge, then you're able to use your grapple to jump over the ledge and onto the faraway building. You then want to run along this pathway and then turn toward the left. There's going to be a Chroma Catalyst on your right hand side, so let's pick that up. That will also act as a save point for us for the upcoming tough enemy. Now let's go ahead and go down the path a little bit further until we can grapple across the gap. We'll turn left and we'll hop down, and we're going to fight this very powerful chromatic enemy in the middle of this arena. Remember, if you happen to get killed here, you can always just reload the save from where you picked up that Chroma Catalyst a minute ago. These chromatic enemies are very strong, and as you can see, he basically has a 1-hit kill if he hits you with this 3-hit combo, and Lune is gone. So let's go ahead and reload this fight and try it again. I realize I haven't really mentioned how to save the game here. The game basically works on an autosave system where there are 21 different save slots and it just rotates through them. You can't really manually save the game unless you choose to return to the main menu, but for the most part the game will just autosave when you do something significant like pick up an item, defeat enemies, or go to an expedition flag. Let's go ahead and re-engage this chromatic troubadour enemy. To dodge that 3-hit combo, wait until his trumpet goes straight up into the air, and then it's going to come crashing down 3 times. It's that first hit that you really have to watch out for. You can get hit with the second and third hits without too much of a problem. Now starting off with Maelle's turn, we're going to have her use Offensive Switch to inflict Defenseless on the enemy. Now it's Gustave's turn, and he's going to use Lumiere Assault. Now it's Lune's turn, and she's going to use her Wildfire skill to do medium fire damage, as well as inflict a burn. These burns really come in handy because when the enemy takes 2 turns in a row, he'll get burned twice in a row as well. We'll keep up our dodges here while he does his 3-hit combos. He's got another 3-hit attack, but it's going to be a little bit different, and I'll show you that one in just a second. It's now Maelle's turn again, and because the enemy is burning, we're going to use Swift Stride to switch her to Virtuose Stance. It's now Gustave's turn, and we're going to use a Marking Shot to inflict the enemy with a mark. But because we're saving this mark for Maelle, we're not going to attack with Lune, we're just going to pass her turn. And here comes the tricky shot from the enemy. He'll launch 2 green orbs and distract you, but watch his trumpet first because he'll do a melee attack first, and then you have to dodge those 2 green orbs. And here it is again, it's a fake out with the 2 green orbs, the melee attack, and then the green orbs come in. Well, the enemy is now marked and will take double damage. Virtuose does 200% damage, so we can either use Perseid to do a lot of damage, or Fleurette Fury that will do 3 attacks and also stack up a lot of break, and we'll actually be able to break and stun the enemy at this point. And now with Gustave, we're going to go ahead and use his overcharge ability with a fully charged overcharge meter, and that will do tons of damage to him. And finally, with Lune, we're going to have her use her Immolation skill in order to inflict some more burning. And on the enemy's next turn, then that burn will tick, and the enemy will be gone. For our trouble, we get a good amount of experience, as well as 2 Chroma Catalysts and 5 Color of Luminas. And in addition, we get a new weapon for Lune called the Traubadim. This weapon has a base power of 115, and it scales with both vitality and with defense. Let's go ahead and equip that weapon onto her. We'll choose Lune, and then we'll select her weapon, and now we want to equip the Traubadim instead. Because it's already a level 4 weapon, it has its level 4 additional perk slot open, and free aim shots will deal damage to an additional random target. Let's proceed along the path in front of us, and you can see a Pictos in the distance. Let's go pick that one up, and this is going to be the Energizing Break Pictos, giving us +3 AP on breaking target. We'll then run up the path a little bit more and use the grapple to get up to the higher cliff. We'll stick toward the right side, and then we're going to go down and jump down from this cliff to the lower level. There's an enemy over on the left-hand side. Let's go battle him. Here's an easy battle against a Bruler and a Luster that I made more difficult than it needed to be. I would recommend it hitting that weak point on the Bruler first, and then putting 2 shots into the Luster before using a physical attack against the Bruler. That would allow Lune to finish off the Luster, and then use Thunderfall to take out the Bruler. It worked either way though, because now I can just use Electrify, or you could use a free aim shot and Electrify to take him down. Either way, we did have enough speed so that we could take him out with Maelle, and then the battle was over before they even had a chance to attack. Strategy and turnover can really make a difference in some of these battles, and if you think through it a little bit more, then you can save yourself a lot of time and effort in these battles. We will continue to get progressively stronger throughout the game too, and eventually we can just start one-shotting things to make it pretty easy for ourselves. After the fight, we're going to stick toward the right-hand side running up this ramp, and we can grab the item up here. This is going to be a Color of Lumina, and then we can hop on down, and we're going to fight the enemy in front of us. This fight is against a Cruler as well as 2 Demineurs. I'd recommend shooting the Cruler twice and then taking out the 2 Demineurs by shooting their mines. That will allow you to do lots of damage to the Cruler as well. If you just shoot the Demineurs first, then the enemy is going to have full health, and you'll have to deal with its full health bar instead of a greatly diminished one. You'll also note that the enemy does have a weak spot. This one is up on its shoulder, though they can appear in random places like on the hand or elsewhere. We can hit its weakness to lightning by using Electrify with Lune, and now with Maelle, we're going to use Spark in order to inflict a burn and do some additional damage. Remember, this guy can jump up into the air, requiring you to jump and then counterattack, or it can come in and just do a couple of hit smashes. It doesn't really matter if it hits you though, it doesn't do a ton of damage. We'll now have Maelle use Spark again, and then Gustave can use a normal attack. Once the fight's over, we'll collect our rewards, and then we'll keep moving on. After the fight, there's a nearby item that we want to pick up, so let's keep going forward until we get by the street lamp and the box, and there's going to be an energy tint shard that we can grab. Now let's turn a little bit more toward the right, and we're going to run up the street, and we can see that there's a couple enemies up ahead. Let's go fight these lusters. At this point, we're pretty good at taking these kind of enemies out. We can start by using our free aim shot to hit each of them once. And now we can just use a physical attack with Gustave. Now let's wrap things up by having Lune take out the weakened luster. And now we can use Electrify to finish off the other one by hitting its weakness to lightning damage. Now at this point, I got enough experience for Maelle to get up to level 11. Let's go ahead and keep moving on. After that fight, we're going to continue going forward, and you can see that there's a building that's kind of sticking out of the ground at an angle here. You want to run up the roof until you get to the very top of it, and then you can use the grapple point to go across the gap and onto the roof of the other building. There's an enemy up here. Let's go ahead and fight him. This is a battle against one Bruler and two lusters. We'll start by shooting the Bruler's weak point, and then we can go ahead and shoot the other lusters one time. Then we'll have Gustave use a normal attack against one of those lusters. Now this seems like a bug, but when I use the free aim shot with Lune, I'm not actually getting any more energy thanks to that Pictos dead energy. Instead, her weapon is just doing additional damage to one of the other enemies, which it's supposed to do, but it seems to cancel out the ability for us to get that free AP. That means I can only use Electrify and not Thunderfall. That's alright though, I can still have Maelle take out the one enemy on the right. Now I can have her either use a normal attack or use Spark against the remaining Bruler. Well, the enemy gets to attack, it almost died from that burn damage, and I'm just going to parry its very easy attacks, and then that will be the end of the fight. And now both Gustave and Lune get enough experience to hit level 12. After the fight, you want to turn toward the right and look toward the faraway buildings. You'll see a grapple point that you can use to get to the faraway roof. Now just follow the red flowers on the ground as they go toward the right, and at the base of the large tree is another very good Pictos for us to grab. This is versatile. After a free aim hit, base attack damage is increased by 50% for one turn. Well, it's been a while since we changed our Pictos, so let's go ahead and do that to make sure that we're going to be mastering them, and that will save us some unnecessary grinding later on in the game. So starting off with Gustave, we want to keep Dodger and Augmented Attack, but we can swap out his Augmented Aim for a different Pictos, and I'm going to choose to replace Augmented Aim with that new Versatile Pictos that we just picked up. Now if we shoot an enemy first and then attack them with the base attack, we'll do monstrous damage against them. Now over to Maelle, I want to keep exposing attack, but we can replace SOS Shell, and I'm going to choose to replace it with Energizing Break. And now we can remove marking shots as well, and I'm going to replace that with Augmented Counter 1. Now let's move over to Lune, and we're going to replace a few of her Pictos. Starting off, I'm going to replace her Burning Shots Pictos with the Rewarding Mark Pictos. I'm then going to swap out Critical Burn for Staggering Attack. And technically I could get rid of dead energy too because it doesn't seem to be working, and I could replace it with cleansing tint, but we can come back to that one later on. Once you're all set up, you want to turn toward the right and drop down the ledge all the way to the bottom, then turn left and head down the passageway. At the very end is going to be an expedition flag, and you want to use that. Because we leveled up our characters, we can use the upgrade attributes option to give ourselves more points into might. Starting off with Gustave, we have 6 available points, so I'm going to put those all into might, raising his total up to 36. Now over to Maelle, we've got 3 points available, so her total goes up to 33. And Maelle has 3 points, so her total is 36. We now want to learn some more skills, so let's go to the Learn Skills option, and then with Gustave, we'll go to the bottom of his left column, and we'll purchase the Shatter ability. Now we want to learn a really good skill for Maelle, so let's go over to her, and if we go all the way toward the right, there's going to be a skill called Breaking Rules. This doesn't do a lot of damage, but it breaks all of the enemy's shields, and she'll gain 1 AP per shield destroyed, and if the target was defenseless, she'll play a second turn. Basically, she gets to go 2 turns in a row, so that's really useful and synergizes well with Offensive Switch. We'll use the 4 skill points we have to buy Breaking Rules, and then we'll press X to assign it. You get up to 6 skills at a time. We're going to replace Guard Up with Breaking Rules. Once you're all set with the skills and your attributes, you just want to go back out and then rest, because we have a boss fight coming up. And once you're all rested, we're going to go ahead and leave the expedition flag. We'll head over toward the right side of the screen, going down a little passageway, and when we get out into the opening, that's when we get a cutscene and a boss fight. Now we have a pretty interesting fight against a boss named Go Blue. It can start the fight with a jump attack. Just be prepared that this is actually a 3-hit attack, not just a 1 like you might assume. Starting with Gustave, we're going to go ahead and use his Lumiere Assault. You can see that the enemy currently has 2 shields to begin with, but Lumiere Assault hits 5 times, so we can take care of all of those shields and generate a lot of overcharge. This boss does have a weakness to lightning damage, so you can go ahead and just use Electrify to do lots of damage to it, or you could just use Immolation to begin burning, and then you can go into your combo with Maelle. Either one works well. Now with Maelle, because he's not currently burning, I'm going to have her use Spark to actually light him on fire. Now he gets 2 turns in a row. A melee combo is just 2 attacks. And remember that jump attack is 3 hits. Now it's back to Gustave, and I'm going to have him use a Marking Shot. Not only will Marking Shot mark the enemy, but this attack does lightning damage, so it will do bonus damage for hitting its weakness. And now with Lune, we're going to have her use Immolation to stack some more burns on the enemy, especially on enemies that do multiple attacks. This is really good for inflicting more burn damage. And because the enemy is burning, we can have Maelle use her Swift Stride skill in order to switch her into Virtuose stance. Now, in case you couldn't tell by the opening scene, this enemy really likes flowers and can cause some to grow around him. If those flowers still exist by the time he gets his next turn, they're going to provide shields to him, so what you want to do is just use some free aim shots to shoot those flowers and get rid of them. He'll gain 1 shield per every flower that remains. We're out of AP with Gustave, so he can just use a normal attack, and then we can just have Lune take out that remaining flower. Technically, you can ignore the flowers and just let the enemy stack up those shields, and then Maelle can just come in and use Breaking Rules to get rid of all the shields at once, as well as recharge her AP. But if you just want this to go a little bit smoother, you can just take out those flowers and not even worry about the shields. We're going to use another Electrify against the enemy to hit its weakness, and then we're going to move on to Maelle. Judging by the yellow bar under the enemy's health bar, it's close to being broken, so Maelle can use Fleurette Fury while in Virtuose stance to deal tons of damage to break the enemy, stun him, and will stay in Virtuose stance as well. And now the enemy is just going to grow some more flowers to help him out. This time I'm not really going to worry about those flowers, just to show you its effect. With Gustave, we've got 2 AP, which is perfect. We can use a marking shot against Go Blue. Because the enemy is marked, we're just going to skip Lune's turn and go over to Maelle. You could probably use Pierce at this point to deal enough damage to take him out. I'm just going to use a Fleurette Fury, however, because it deals a lot of damage, and then this will actually show you what happens with the flowers, because we barely don't take him out. He's going to absorb the flower's power, and you'll see all those shields stack up on him. Now, even though he has 5 shields, it doesn't matter because 1 Breaking Rules with Maelle will get rid of all of them, but we can probably kill him even before getting to Maelle's turn. Starting off with Gustave, we've got 2 AP, so I'm just going to shoot him a couple times, and then we can use 1 physical attack. That's going to leave him with 2 shields. Watch out if the enemy tries to crush a character, because if it hits, it's going to stun them, so they won't be able to act the next turn. But I have no intention of going even 1 more turn with this guy. I'm going to use Electrify. It hits 3 times, so I'll use 2 hits to get rid of those shields, and then the last hit will take out the enemy's health. And there you go, there's another boss defeated. It had an interesting gimmick with those flowers, and in fact, most bosses have an interesting gimmick like that.
Gustave, wait! It seems peaceful, as long as we don't touch the flowers.
Yeah, let's not get too sentimental. It's still a painter's creation.
Putain! Damn, Maelle, what was that?
It felt familiar somehow.
Gustave, we won't understand what's going on if we kill everything that moves.
Look, a red tree. The gestural village must be ahead.
You know what Nevrons are capable of.
She'll be fine.
She'll be fine.
We did get some items as a reward from that boss fight as well, including a Shape of Health, which we can use at camp to upgrade the healing tint. We also got some polished Chroma Catalyst to upgrade a weapon up to level 9, and some Chroma Catalyst to upgrade weapons up to level 3. Now let's continue on the path straight ahead of us toward the end. There are no more items to pick up and no more enemies to fight here, so let's go forward till you get to the large tree straight ahead, and then turn left and keep going till you get to the portal. And once you go through it, you'll get the Flying Waters trophy for making it through the Flying Waters zone.
Still too far.
Being out here isn't what I expected.
As expected. Hey. You okay?
Death out here's not like death in Lumiere, is it? I thought I was used to losing people. Life of a foster child, right? But not like that. On the beach, that man.
Yeah, I know. Nevrons we were prepared for, but not. And now we've finally found other survivors, and it's... You know, that's the insidious thing about the Gommage. It's predictable, almost gentle. It makes Lumiere complacent and accepting, but... The Gommage is equally violent, and death... Death is just as final.
I've been having nightmares.
Yeah, me too. Look, if death approaches, I want you to run. No, promise me. Run. Especially if we meet the man from the beach. We can't face him. You see him, you run.
Only if you do the same.
Oh, I'm running as soon as I see a strand of white hair, trust me. You won't even see me, I'm running so fast.
Oh, please, you're an old man. I can outrun you any day.
Yeah, right. There was a time when 30 was young, you know.
Sure. Surprised to find you here.
I hope we can trust him.
Well, at least we can upgrade our Pictos.
After the scene, head forward and talk to the Curator. The Curator offers you his services. Choose Upgrade Weapons. The Curator can upgrade weapons. The list of available weapons for the current character is shown on the left side of the screen. It can be sorted by power, by level, or alphabetically. Weapons are the main source of attack power. Passive effects from weapons can't be learnt as Lumina and are only active if the weapon is equipped. Weapons also scale their damage from some of your attributes. For example, a weapon that scales with agility means that the more agility the character has, the more damage the weapon will deal. Its scaling power is defined by the associated letter, ranking from D to S. The Curator can upgrade your weapons using Chroma Catalysts. Upgrading weapons increases their attack power and attribute scaling, and can unlock new passive effects at specific rarity levels. Weapons of different qualities require different Chroma Catalysts to be upgraded. To my knowledge, no weapon scales with the might stat. However, the effect of might on a weapon's damage is roughly equivalent to having a scaling of A on it, which we don't really have access to at this point without upgrading our weapons quite a bit. That's why you're able to get more value out of putting points into might than you are at putting points into other things. But eventually we're going to get weapons that scale up to an S with a certain attribute point, and once that's the case, then we definitely want to focus on that stat, because then we're going to get more effect for scaling with an S than we would for scaling with the A rank of might. But for our purposes right now, we want to get a new trophy, so we just have to upgrade any of these weapons. I'm going to upgrade the Noram because it's the weakest weapon here and requires the least amount to upgrade it. So once we do that by using one of our Chroma Catalysts, then we get the weapon upgrade trophy. And as you can see, the weapon gained 19 points in terms of base power, but it didn't change the scaling at all at this level. Now let's go ahead and leave this menu, and then we want to talk to the Curator again. And we're going to choose Upgrade Expedition Resources. The Curator can increase Lumina points for each character and improve tints by increasing their potency. Adding a Lumina point to a character costs 1 color of Lumina. There is no limit to the amount of Lumina points that a character can have. Improving tints requires special items. Each tint requires a different item. Improving tints increases their effectiveness. Each tint can only be improved twice. We're not going to mess around with the colors of Lumina and adding Lumina points very much right now. We in fact only have to add 1 of them to a character. I'll add 1 to Maelle to get the Lumina Trophy, but we're going to focus more on the Lumina points when we get to Act 2 a little bit later on. Now let's go down and we want to select the small healing tint, and we can upgrade that using the Shape of Health item that we just got. We can also upgrade the small revive tint using the Shape of Life item that we have. We cannot upgrade the small energy tint just yet because we don't have a Shape of Energy. Once you're done with the Curator, turn around and head back out through the small cave entrance, and we'll head over to the campfire. Let's interact with the campfire, and we're going to choose the last option right in the journal of Gustave's apprentices. Gustave finds a spot where he can be alone. He spends some time writing in his journal. He writes about how the arm they created for him was incredibly useful against water-type Nevrons. He hopes that one day his apprentices will read everything he wrote.
For those who come after.
Gustave heads back. And now we can get another trophy if we choose Check Up on the Others. This gives us the Curious trophy for seeing a special scene while at camp.
Been a long time since I've seen you play.
A gestural village.
Yeah. I still can't believe they exist. I mean, what other fairy tales are real?
This is ultimately a war of information. There's still too much we don't understand. Where the paintress comes from? Why she does what she does? Who is she? 70 years and we still barely know anything.
And the man on the beach? Yeah, too many unknowns. But if we take down the paintress, at least that gives future generations a chance to unravel the mystery.
You seem better than before.
Yeah. Holding it together. Shock's worn off. A bit. We can't bring anyone back. But I thought we can keep their spirit alive by pushing forward. And at least there's 3 of us now. The mission hasn't changed.
Tomorrow comes.
Tomorrow comes.
That's pretty much all that we have to do at camp for right now. If you want to continue on, just go over to the campfire and choose Go to Sleep. But first I'm going to go over to the expedition flag, and I'm going to just rest here real quick just to make sure that everyone's health is all filled up nicely, and then I'll head over to the campfire and choose to go to sleep. And once you do that, you're going to find yourselves out on the world map. And this is where we're going to end part 3. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're enjoying these videos, please be sure to hit that like button, as it really helps me out, and consider subscribing so that you can join our amazing community and so that you can stay up to date with the rest of the videos in this series. I'll see you soon in part 4. Until then, thanks for watching and have a good day.